My boys, when I think about the next Animal Crossing game, I'm a little scared. And that's kind of because of New Horizons and the online reception that game has, which you probably know firsthand. Just a quick search of New Horizons on YouTube, and every video is pretty much a negative one. Don't get me wrong, I think New Horizons is an amazing game. It's just that a lot of longtime fans feel iffy on whether or not it's an amazing Animal Crossing game. But those trivial opinions aside, I can't help but think of New Horizons to be a very important game for the future of Animal Crossing as a whole. New Horizons very much feels like a decisive moment for the franchise, and I'm very interested about what Animal Crossing does next, but I'm also terrified. Now, I'll get into why I'm terrified of what Animal Crossing does next, but first, I do need to explain what New Horizons does that makes me feel that way. That makes a lot of people feel that way. I feel like the term Flanderization works very well with the current state of Animal Crossing. New Horizons, it just feels kind of meh, kind of bland. It's still Animal Crossing, don't get me wrong, and it looks amazing, but it just doesn't have that sauce. It does have the most innovation out of any other title in the series, probably all combined, but even with all of these new things, the game still feels a tad stale, and I think it just burns out so much quicker than the past games, which, if you know what Animal Crossing is, the last thing it should feel like is stale. Making its debut in the States in 2001 on the GameCube, Animal Crossing was wacky. I'm talking, you were forced to wear Viking attire. Although the first Animal Crossing can be a bit rough for some people to go back to, because since, it's the first game, it's very much absent of the many new features that the series has seen over the years, which do make Animal Crossing a more fun game to play. And while the gameplay of Animal Crossing is very important, fishing, bug catching, and fossil digging are all very fun and rewarding gameplay loops that you can partake in daily. But my boys, in my heart, I feel that I've always known that the most important part of Animal Crossing is the vibes, man. I'm thankful that I can move my house wherever I want and place stuff outside and expand my inventory. But the true personality and charm of the games is found within 50% of the title. The animals. There's over 400 villagers, but each and every one feels unique. Like they have preferred styles of clothing and decoration for their houses, villagers have catchphrases and hobbies, and also villagers don't really have to choose to like you. Sometimes you're getting sent letters in the mail like this one. Today's Valentine's Day, but knowing how you treat people, I figured you. Holy shit, bro. Okay, like this.
You're moving out.
Those first 3 Animal Crossing games really had the player feeling as if they were just a cog in the machine. And now this is where that other 50% of the title comes in, the crossing. Because in the older games, you controlled nothing. You were just crossing by in this town, trying to make the best out of what you were given. I felt like actual Shakespeare when I wrote that in the script. Animal Crossing had this feeling of relatability that's found in the real world, which I feel is kind of responsible of what made so many people initially attached to Animal Crossing. Players genuinely feel as if they're a citizen in this town and they're making honest connections. It felt like you were part of that town and you had to just roll with the punches. If someone ugly moved in right on top of where you planted some flowers, well, fuck you. You can't move them. And plus, if they're actually really... Oh my god, that voice crack. Plus, if the villager that just moved in right on top of your flowers is god ugly and won't move out no matter how many times you hit him with a net, it's a double fuck you. And all while you're stuck with an ugly villager who won't take a hint, your favorite one is talking about moving out because they want to explore new things. And if you ask them to stay, they might get sad about it. So as much as it sucks, the right thing to do is let him go. Frank Sinatra, that's life, baby. Also, like what I was saying earlier, the villagers don't have to like you because they can be rude, like for no reason at all. But at the same time, you get the absolute homie who invites you over to his house to do whatever this is. Who is getting drowned in here?
Getting drowned.
What is that?
It's the gyro.
They don't hear the heart in the floorboards. They don't hear the heart in the floorboards. Please leave this fucking house. It's like Mitzi is just like, hey, like you're having a sleepover with this villager, and they're just like, do you mind if I put some white noise on just so I can go to sleep?
Hey, hang on. I killed it. We don't have to worry about it anymore.
Okay, now his wife. What a psychopath. But now in the present day, with New Horizons, I say it feels Flanderized because You quite literally rule this land. The animals would never dare disrespect you, and their personalities are honestly just so watered down, to the point where on multiple occasions, I have spotted 2 different villagers saying the exact same dialogue. Which just like, hello, when 50% of the title of your game is under-delivering, don't you think that's an issue? To me, New Horizons feels as if it would never dare let the player feel like they don't have complete control over everything. Case in point, in New Horizons, you can walk up to a villager that you never talk to, and you can go, hey, can you move your house? I don't like it over here. I'm gonna put it over here. Like, just asking a stranger to move their house, and they go, okay. Like, come on, at least make the player have to actually build relations with villagers so it doesn't feel like everyone in your town is a yes man. I think the core issue, how I see it at least, is when you play a life sim game like Animal Crossing, you're gonna want it to, simulate life. And that's not me saying I want a one-to-one translation of the real world in my game. Hell, I'm probably playing Animal Crossing at the age of 21 on my girlfriend's pink Nintendo 3DS because I'd like to escape from the real world for a little bit. But rolling with the punches and not being in control of everything and everyone is part of what created a lot of people's initial attachment to the series. Because like I said earlier, you felt like a part of the town that you were in. You weren't he who controls all, you were just he. Now, you've probably been thinking, hey, why is this butt puppet talking about New Horizons while the poorly drawn TV shows the GameCube version? And well, first, ouch, but second, the gameplay footage you're watching is Drake's own GameCube town, because when I had asked him to play his favorite Animal Crossing, he picked this one, because in Drake's own words, this one feels the most Animal Crossing, which isn't even nostalgia talking, because when this game came out, we both weren't even born yet. I hope I made someone out there feel really old just now. Drake and I both started playing Animal Crossing at New Leaf in 2015. And while we did initially love New Horizons, especially with it releasing during lockdown, like come on, what an absolute amazing time for such a game to release. But Drake and I, and as you know, every other video talking about New Horizons, is on the same page that it just burns out quicker than most other Animal Crossing titles. And part of me feels that it's because of how much control they give the player, which in turn just dilutes the personality of the villagers. In New Leaf, which lets you become the town's mayor, you still can't really control everything. No moving shops, or the villager who put their house right on the pattern you laid down in memoriam of your late grandmother. True story, by the way. But New Leaf turned over a new leaf for the series, and it opened up a lot of possibilities in the way in which Animal Crossing could be played. And New Horizons took it even further. It showed us those ideas getting expanded upon, and shows the new horizons that await players for the future of this series. So I think New Horizons is a very important game in the series because it's a decisive moment for what comes next. Essentially, the question I raise is, what does Animal Crossing do next? Is it gonna be another game where you have even more power and control over everything and everyone, where your villagers dare not ask you to run errands for them out of fear you're gonna move their house in the middle of the night? Is the next Animal Crossing gonna be a game where everything revolves around you? Because I'm sorry, that's just not Animal Crossing. I've always felt like playing New Horizons and talking with your villagers, it feels like eating lunch in the break room with your boss. I mean, you can joke around, but not too much. Like, you can't show too much of your personality because they're your boss and you don't want to piss off your boss. But then you have the older games and their villagers. It's like a 50% chance on whether or not they're going to treat you like this.
Yeah?
Yeah? Is there a problem? Oh, we didn't know it was your property. We just thought it was like a public mountain. Well, okay, rude.
So it's just so disappointing when the villagers in New Horizons feel like computer code. And I know what you're gonna say. Yeah, surprise, dumbass, they're literally computer code. But to that I say, no! Villagers in the older games, I never experienced repeat dialogue across 2 different villagers. They had hobbies, they made me run chores and bring them medicine when they were sick. Sometimes it even gets a little deep when it's 2 a.m. and your homie's out still awake and they say some shit like this.
Dude, you think the wind, do you think we could ever decipher the wind? Like the wind, like, you think the wind is ever trying to tell us something and we don't know how to hear it anymore?
No.
But I don't think that this is that hard of a fix. I mean, if they could write villagers this well in 2001, they can do it today. And I'm honestly not sure why this is even an issue in the first place. Did the writers just get lazy? Did they make villagers more tame and attempt to not make any children cry when they get called fat? I don't know. But regardless, the animals in Animal Crossing, that's a relatively easy fix if they want to. What really troubles me when I think about how it will be conducted in future titles is the crossing. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to be Animal Crossing Jesus. I don't want to part seas and control everything and everyone. I just want to be neighbors with the penguin with bloodshot eyes and maybe talk shit about the rhino who just moved in. Again, don't get me wrong, my boys. I'm honestly very thankful for the new features that New Horizons brought, like customizing your character right at the start and placing items outside. And yeah, terraforming and moving houses to create more realistic neighborhoods is nice, but I just can't help but worry about that name, New Horizons. Like, is what's on the horizon for the future of this series more instances of the player being in total control, like a literal god, and villagers have less personality than cardboard? I really hope not. And much like the issues I have with the animals, the issues I have with the crossing can be non-issues if the developers so choose. But what if the developers choose to embrace more of New Horizons style? Because there were a lot of eyes on New Horizons, more sales than any other Animal Crossing game combined. A lot of that is, due to the Switch's installed base and because it came out during lockdown, but now there's a lot more people aware of Animal Crossing. A lot of people's first Animal Crossing game is New Horizons, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not trying to gatekeep or anything. But that means that a lot of people are completely unaware of just how Animal Crossing used to feel. In my own personal experience, my brother and sister are now fans of Animal Crossing because of New Horizons, which is a great thing. I mean, I tried for years to get them to play New Leaf, but no, they wouldn't like it. And then they totally loved New Horizons. And while I am glad that they finally enjoyed the series, they just won't have any idea of how different this game used to feel. How much more personal everything felt. But I think they will care if they can't sculpt everything around them into a perfect utopia. And honestly, that's why I'm so interested to see where Animal Crossing goes next. When talking about this with Drake, he had a great idea actually, and it was to have ordinances like in New Leaf, but you pick what kind of town you live in. Like maybe you just want to be a villager, or maybe you want to be a mayor, but not a god. Or if you do want to be a god, fuck it, thou art one. I don't think that the next Animal Crossing is going to be bad. I think that's actually impossible. And I don't mind new mechanics and innovation, but please make the player earn what they do. Like having to work for the KK concert, that's cool. So like, what if you had to actually work your way up in this little animal town? Imagine campaigning against another villager to become mayor. And then from there on, your connection with your villagers in your town reflects in what it is that you're able to do. Like I said earlier, I don't think I should be allowed to move the house of a villager I never talk to. Make me have to butter them up to be open to it. It's okay to tell the player no. As weird as it sounds, I think the worst thing that the next Animal Crossing could do is embrace more of what New Horizons does. And I'm not a hater. I'm just really passionate about Animal Crossing, as you can tell. Like, regardless, I'm gonna play the new one. I'll probably play a lot of it and enjoy what it does regardless. But instead of forcing things to be how you want them to be, I want Animal Crossing to feel like a game where you're a part of this little life, watching everything and everyone around you just happen the way it's gonna happen. Not everything should be handed to the player, at least not right away. Because growing in multiple ways alongside your town and its villagers is what makes Animal Crossing so much fun. And my boys, if it's not fun, why bother? But hey, if you think I'm wrong, go yell at me in the comments. And hey, if you think I'm right, go yell at me in the comments too. That is pretty much it for this video, my boys. I really had to get all that out. And I'm honestly dying to know what you think of New Horizons or where you think the series is going to go from there. But yeah, that's all the time I got. So I need to get back to playing Animal Crossing New Leaf on my girlfriend's pink Nintendo 3DS.